right, welcome back. It's time picks. We have UFC Vegas 96, Jared Cannonier versus Ciao Borralho. We have 12 fights on tap, including three Ultimate Fighter fights to end, to wrap up their season. And overall, it's a decent card. It's not the best card. I feel like I say that a lot. There could be some entertaining fights. Overall, though, it's not the greatest card in the world. Joey, how you feeling about it?
Before the looks, before I knew the overall results, I thought, okay, it could be a decent card, but I think there's some decent looks you can get for action on here for bets, especially. But so I
It's
got
just
to tap it.
so low on action that any action does it for you.
Yep. Hey, man, there's gonna be some good action spots, and I'll call them out once I see them. But this actually should be a decent night of fights.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll jump right into it. We have a debuting fighter in Kong Wang. Not really sure how you pronounce it, but going against Victoria Leonardo. And as always, we'll kick it over to Joey to start it off.
So, guys, I like to tend to break shit down. I don't got much to break down in this fight because I think I'm gonna make it really smooth and quick for everybody.
Very
Play
easy.
Wong Kang or Kang Wong or however the hell they're going to announce her name on fight night. She beat Valentina Shevchenko in a striking match in 2015. It was a close one, but she beat her. And now you're giving her, and she went through the road to the UFC. She won that too. And now they're giving her like a T-ball set on a damn platter, and she's ready to crack a home run. That's how I personally see it. 9,600, lock it in everywhere, as my boy Drake would say. FanDuel, hey, she's probably a good, decent option for a captain.
Mhm.
Because I think there's a very good chance she's going to get her done in round one.
Yeah, I hate that she's so expensive, especially. It's actually hard to believe that DraftKings put her so expensive, given that it's her first fight. And just to specify, she beat Shevchenko in a kickboxing match.
Yeah.
Uh, so there was no, tight grappling or anything like that. Not that she can't do it. She's a relatively good grappler herself, but man, she's vicious. And Leonardo is not a great fighter. She's lost 3 or 4 UFC fights. None of them have been great. The one win that she got, she barely beat
Ugh.
Mandy Bohm, whatever. So yeah, not good. Not a good look. Leonardo is going to drop to 96. Wang's going to be 1-0 in her UFC debut, and it should happen pretty quickly.
Not UFC
So,
caliber. This is one of the fights I told you before the show. One of these fighters, not UFC caliber, that's Leonardo. She can go bye-bye.
so both of us are going with the very heavy favorite in Wang Wong. Next up, we have a bout at 145 for the Tough Championship.
Mm-mm.
So, this one is
It's just the two guys from the show.
these are guys just making their debuts.
Yeah.
We got Zigomantas Ramaska going against Nathan
Ooh.
Fletcher, and this will be an interesting fight. I think this is almost a striker versus grappler type of matchup. Ramaska is going to have a huge advantage on the feet. Fletcher's going to have a big advantage on the ground. So it really comes down to Ramaska's takedown defense. Fletcher is the favorite. He is also the current people's favorite. I'm torn on the fight. I'm not really sure who I want to go with. I know Joey's more decided than I am, but I'm gonna go with the slight favorite in Fletcher.
I don't
Joey,
hate that. I'll tell you right now. I don't hate
let's,
that.
let's,
But one thing I'll say is Ramaska was supposed to fight Santos, who we're going to break down later, in the semifinal to qualify. And I actually picked Ramaska to try to win the whole thing because he's well rounded. He has his own decent good BJJ, but Fletcher is the better primarily wrestler, grappler. He's gonna try to get you in the clinch, try to body lock you for control time, and then he does go for a single and they try to trip you. One thing I will say, if he gets the back, there's a very good chance he's gonna pull out one of his some ideal submissions, which is the rear naked choke. He has 6 of them if you count down to his amateur career. So if he gets the back, everyone that is on Ramaska like I am is gonna be sweating bullets. But Fletcher is a natural 35er. He went up to 45 to get onto the show. He lost to Santos' opponent. in Oakley, and he just got taken down and controlled. He was just controlled by the better grappler. He's a decent striker, but if he doesn't get it to the ground, there's a high probability that this guy's gonna point him, or he maybe get a knockout because he doesn't have 100% finish rate, but 5 of them are by knockout. So I'm gonna go with the dog, which I thought was gonna be the favorite because he was supposed to fight. And I'll just sum it up. He was supposed to fight. He didn't get cleared by Nevada because his first fight was an absolute war, best fight of the season. He had something wrong with his jaw during the fight, and Santos ended up fighting somebody legit day notice, and then that's how he got in. But we'll break that fight down later on. But yeah, I'm gonna go on the dog of Ramaska, and I may play him. I'll play the money line because I'm unsure about how to finish, but yeah, I'll just have him on the money line.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a tough fight. It can go either
Yeah.
way. It's a pure GPP fight. We haven't seen enough of either one of them. We don't know how they're going to perform, so it's a tough one. But I am on the favorite in Fletcher. Joey's got the dog in Ramasca. Next up, we got Josiane Nunez going against Jacqueline Cavalcanti. And for me, this is a pretty easy matchup. But Joey, where are you at on it?
So this matchup I'm probably gonna fade because I do play GPP. Both girls are a striker. You need a finish, or the decision's probably not gonna be the highest, more likely. But I am on out Cal Contanti. I'm on her. I think she's gonna have the. I probably butchered the last name terribly. I talk so much shit saying I can say last names, and I butchered that one. That's why you see Drake smiling big as hell. But no, I'm on Jacqueline. I think she's gonna have the overall range. She has a 6-inch height, 3-inch reach. I think she's gonna use probably her 1-2s and leg kicks to keep it at bay. Noons, she does crack hard. She is the harder puncher out of the two. Maybe she can make it dirty, but I'm on Jacqueline. But I'm not touching it for DFS. I'll probably say fight goes to decision.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm also on the favorite in Cavalcanti. I will preface it by saying Nunez has shown that she can get into the pocket and brawl with fighters that have the reach advantage. The problem that I think she's going to run into is Cavalcanti's ability to stay on the edge, throw kicks, and she'll probably throw more volume, which is likely going to be the difference in this fight. And like Joey said, it's probably one to only target 4 GPP contests if you're doing a mass entry.
Oh.
It likely will not score well enough for an optimal lineup in, for those contests. But I do think that Cavalcanti makes a really good cash play
So
at her
any
price.
bets over 2.5, and then if you want to think if Calicante does win, I think it's gonna be my decision. So you might be able to get slight plus money on that, but not the odds aren't gonna be crazy. You might get like plus 105.
So both of us are on the favorite in Cavalcanti. Next up, we have Vyacheslav Borshev going against James Yantop. Um, this was actually a difficult fight for me to
Mm-hmm.
to break pick. I knew who I wanted right off the bat,
But
and it is who I went with. But these guys struggle against grapplers, both of them, and neither one of them is a grappler. So this will be a pure striking match, and in those fights we've seen a lot of shit happen, and anything can happen in this fight. That said, Borshev is the harder puncher, and he also throws more. So for me, it's Borshev all day. Um, but Jan he could surprise though. His loss to Padilla was pretty disappointing. And Borshev has shown that he's got a pretty good chin. So I like this one here. I also worry a little bit about Jan reach advantage, but I got Borshev.
so originally this was one of the fights I told you I had an issue with. Uh, Neither side are gonna show the upside of grappling, even though Iron Top does have a submission win, but it's mainly he rocked the guy and then he got the submission. But I wanted to pick Borishev, but what absolutely made me change my mind, and I don't like to an extent, he almost got knocked out by Chase Hooper.
It's because Hooper's a beast, dude. Don't knock
Look,
him.
I know Hooper is growing tremendously, and he caught him on the chin and almost knocked him the F out. I'm not saying Iron Top's gonna knock him out, but let's say if Borishev does, win the fight early, of course he's gonna pay it off because primarily all his wins are by finish. This might be a decent live bet spot to see how Borishev's cardio is at the round one. because Lion Top maybe could win round 2 or 3, or maybe even get a decision. So I'm gonna go Lion Top.
We are split on that one. I've got the favorite in abortion.
But without
Joey's
a
got.
finish, I don't know how the fight's gonna score. So, eh. But if it's a dog money, then the dog could be scored easily.
Yeah, that is true. So we are split on that one. Next up, we have Jose Medina going against Zach Reese. For me, this is very easy. Joey, where you at?
As you said, easy. This is probably one of the more easier fights I could pick. I got Zach Reese. And one thing I'm gonna say, this is where I said this is the second fight I told Drake. I don't know why the dude's in the UFC. He got dominated in the contender series. He got grappled fuck damn near the entire time. And if Reese honestly wants to, and which I'm gonna predict, because I'll give him a lean. He does have decent boxing. I'll give him that. He throws decent, good straight shots, and he's coming down to 185. His contender series was at 205. He's going down to 85. I don't think it's gonna matter for shit personally. I think there's a chance Reese is gonna try to throw power. Reese is gonna take him down. I'm actually gonna sprinkle Reese by submission.
Hmm. That would be quite interesting. I think he's one of those guys that kind of fell in love with his hands. So I think this stays
He did.
upright from the fight.
And as an amateur, he was a good grappler. Then he fell in love with his hands, as you just said. Hey, why not just
But
outpower the dude and just grab the back and get a nice little tap, tap.
well, like I said, easy fight. I don't really have much to break down. Medina's not a good fighter. This should be Reese within the first 2 rounds. And at
Yep.
9,200, he should pay off with the amount of work that he does. So both of us going with the favorite in Zach Reese. Next up, we have Dennis Bazukia taking on the short notice Francis Marshall. And I'm glad I get to do this one first because Bazukia is my lock of the whole entire slate. Not just because he's 7,400. If he was in the 8,000s going against Marshall, I would still lock him in. Um, I find nothing impressive about Francis Marshall. Nothing. He has fallen flat in both of his UFC, well, 2 of his 3 UFC fights. The one fight that he did win was against Marcelo Rojo, which was not a very good fight. What?
No. Oh no, I was just agreeing with you because Rose trash.
Yes, exactly. And then Francis Marshall, I think I had him in I'm pretty sure I picked him in the fight against Gomez, and he got smoked. Well, I guess not smoked. He did have control time,
Good
but
decision.
it wasn't a pretty fight. And then he got the shit kicked in by Alzik Dalgarian, which was a pretty awesome fight. And I see it happening again here. Bazukia showed that he is here to stay. Really, he did have a really good fight against Woodson for the way that it went, and then obviously he got blasted by Emmers, which was kind of unfortunate. But his fight against Matthews, where he showed me how crisp and clean his striking actually is. And if he does that in this fight, Marshall doesn't make it to the end. So I really like Bazuki on this one. And he should be a lock everywhere given his price on DraftKings.
So when I showed you the replacement fighter, this was going to be a striker versus Danny Silva. And I was actually like, oh shit, Danny Silva, good striker, good striker. He dropped out. And then I heard Francis Marshall. I'm like, as soon as I said it, Drake's like, Bazooka's lock. He's a lock. And one thing I will say, he said the Connor Matthews fight. Guess who was at that fight? That was me. And I had a ticket on Dennis Bazooka. And I was like, you know what? I think maybe he'll be the better striker. And guess what? His striking was on fucking point. He rocked Matthews a couple times early, and then round 3, he got him out. So this is what I'll say. If you're on the Marshall side, you better hope he wrestle fucks. But guess what? Do you know who Bazooka trains with? Marab. So you telling me he's not getting good wrestling looks?
Mm-hmm.
Him training with Marab, him training with Alaquenta, training with Sterling. You tell me, come on, Weidman. Like, yeah, you can't tell me he's not getting good. Huh? You dick. I'm gonna have to go back to the video and look at that shit. But nah, and he has good takedown defense, 72% takedown defense. That's all Marshall's gonna do. If he can't get the takedowns early, I think Bazooka, I'd probably say maybe round 2, maybe round 3 finds it. And 7,400, once me and him both found out, guess what? They don't change the tag on DraftKings. 7,400, I'm locking that in everywhere. That's one of the easiest dog plays.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't believe he's a dog.
Yeah, I agree. So both of us are locked in on Zukia, who is the dog, because actually, yeah, Marshall, they put Marshall at 8,300.
That's
The
stupid.
criminal. But I'm all for it. So both of us going with the dog and Bazookia. Next up, we've got Edmund Shabazian going against Gerald Mearshart. And Joey, which side of this fight are you on?
Do you know the 4 losses that Edmund got?
Yeah, they're all good ones.
They're all good ones. So just so you guys know, Brunson, Jack Hermanson, Imavov, and Fluffy Hernandez. You know all 4 of those guys got in common? They were ranked in the top 15 or higher. And nothing against Gerald. Has he ever been close to the top 15? I don't, maybe. Maybe it was like 14, 15. But if you actually go back, Gerald hasn't fought the names that Edmund has. At his young age, he came in knocking folks out.
He fought Hamzat. He just didn't do anything.
Come on, that was a damn. Here you go,
Yeah,
Hamzat.
knocked
Go
out
ahead.
17 seconds.
Come on, that outside of Chimaev, which he went to sleep real quick, but Mishar hasn't fought anyone that Shabazian has outside of Chimaev putting him to bed early in like 2 seconds. I got Shabazian. I do. I think he's gonna knock him out within the first 2 rounds. But I will say, if you are on the Mearshart side, this is more of a sprinkle bet than me even touching him in DraftKings. Play him by sub, because if he's gonna win, if Esmond does gas out after mid round 2, Mearshart somehow finds himself to get 3rd round finishes for sub. So that's always live. So if you're on that side, okay, maybe have him in a few lines because it is a pure GPP fight. Either Edmund gets submitted or Edmund will knock him out probably in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Edmund's one of my favorite plays in the slate. Only because he is generally kill or be killed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh the thing that bothers me the most about Shabazian is that when he gets put on his back, he tends to accept it and stay there, which could be an issue in this fight. I don't think that it will be, but
You never
it
know.
could be. I think Shabazian knocks out Mearshart within the first 2 rounds. That said, Mearshart is always dangerous. He's somebody that you always need to play in GPP because he's always priced as a
7,200.
dog, and he tends to break the slate when he wins. So yeah, both of us going with Edmund Shabazian, pretty decently sized favorite. Next up, we got the high flying prospect Michael Morales going against Neil Magny. And I swear to God, if you're on Magny again,
I'm not pick. Okay, let me go first then. I'm not picking Magny in this fight because I don't need him taking a flight to where he lives, coming knocking on my front door and smacking the shit out of me. I don't need that shit in my life. I got too much things to focus on.
no,
But
I'll give you this. Magny is a good gatekeeper. He really is.
yes, very
He
good.
basically he guards the top 15 at the top right there, and he knocks back guys that maybe aren't ready
Yep.
for it. That is not the case in this fight. Michael Morales is a complete fighter. He's 16-0 for a reason, and not that Magny isn't good, not that he can't handle this, but Morales is just going to overpower him. There's nothing that Magny is going to be able to do in this fight to stop Morales from landing clean or taking him down at will. It's just going to be Morales, and it's going to be probably pretty easy for him.
So one thing I actually do say about this fight, which Magny, like I said, he's a gatekeeper. I did not pick him in this fight, so I'm good on that. I actually think this fight, I think Morales wins the decision. I really do. For some reason, I think, Magny might try to use range, probably use his outside jab and kicks, but I think Morales might actually just make this a clinch fight. Get some body work to the knees, maybe get a few takedowns. I don't know if he pays off the 95. I really don't. Depends on what his full game plan is. If he comes out aggressive and throws hell at Magny and knocks him out, then he's gonna break that tag with no problem at 95. But the game plan I'm seeing, I think he's gonna be a more patient approach. Because if you watch the Malat fight, Malat was winning and then he gassed. Is he better than Malat? Absolutely better than Malat. Malat's the better grappler, BJJ specialist, but Morales does have good wrestling. He does have better boxing. And from what I've seen so far, he hasn't had no issues with cardio. So I think Morales wins. I prefer him more as a parlay type piece than maybe it's a DFS play. And then I may sprinkle him by decision, even though Magny is 17-3 against the decision, but he just lost a decision not long ago. But this is actually gonna be a good test for Morales. I want to see where he stands against an actual overall gatekeeper.
That's fair. Both of us are on the favorite in Michael Morales. Next up, we have Con Ofley going against Myron Santos. Joey, let's hear what you got to say about Santos.
So Santos outside the UFC, he's a good kickboxer. He showed it on the show. He's a good kickboxer. First fight against Edwin Cooper, primarily fought a guy that wanted to wrestle and hold him. Round one, he pretty much got wrestled. The rest of the two fights end up going to a third. Tough is 2 rounds. He toughed him out and got a split decision. Second fight, he was supposed to fight old boy in the prelims. I don't know why I'm blanking his fucking name right now. Ramaski. He was supposed to fight Ramaski. He didn't get cleared, and then he ended up fighting a short notice guy on the same day, and then he ended up winning that with no problem by a decision. But there is one thing I've seen, and I was hoping to see in the show. I thought he was going to show more killer instinct. He didn't. He just picked his shots, going ba ba, ba ba, and he just circled. So I was hoping to see some killer instinct. I didn't necessarily see it. I'm actually going to go Ofley here. If you actually do go back to Marlon Santos' record, his one loss actually reminds me of this fight. He did lose to Dan Argueta, who's now in the UFC, strong wrestler. Huh?
That's gonna be my selling point.
Oh, that's gonna be your selling point? Look at that, man. That's like bright minds think alike. But one thing I would say, yeah, he lost to Argueta. Argueta is the more, muscular, powerful guy. Hopefully, he has decent, okay striking, but he's gonna win it on the grappling. He's a come forward good grappler. And if you actually go back to watch the first fight with Cooper versus Santos, if Cooper had any type of knowledge of what BJJ was, he could have finished that fight. Because all Santos did was give up his back against the cage, and all Cooper was doing was hugging and holding. Guess what? Ofley's not going to hug and hold. He's going to jump up to the back and put his hooks in, and I'm actually going to play Ofley by submission. And he's actually one of my favorite dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got Ofley too for all the reasons that you
That's
said.
a high five moment right there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so not that Santos isn't, impressive in his own right or anything. The kid just turned 24. He's still a little too green. He still needs to refine his game. Hopefully I mean, he's entering his prime. He's 31, just turned 31. And I mean, he's definitely got more experience. He's definitely got longer training camps. Everything points to him winning this fight, unless Santos can, pull off that knockout, which I don't see happening. He's going to get submitted on the mat.
Ooh, I will say one more thing about Ofley. If you go back to his record, the two guys that he lost to, one of them's undefeated 8-0, and the other one's like 15-2. So neither one of those losses are fucking bad at all.
No, definitely not. So both of us are on another dog in Ofley. Next up, we have Ryan Loader going against Robert Valentine. I'm excited for this fight. This is one of my more favorite fights on the card. Um, it should, this fight could be close for a little bit, but Valentine is scary. And the second that this starts, my guess is he's just basically going to walk forward and look to murder this guy immediately. I've got Valentine. Loader can be dangerous. He can, he could find that knockout. He could, trap him. But I really think that Valentine pulls this off.
All right, before I give you my pick, I'm going to give you a simple little breakdown about this dude, Valentine. Outside of Uriah Hall, he's probably one of the scariest dudes coming out of tough. He went on this weird hike for like 3.5 months to get to like a highest point of a mountain to go meditate. That's it. To go meditate. And then he gets onto the show and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go sleep outside just so I can get used to the overall air in Vegas during tough. I'm like, what the hell is this dude fucking on? The first thing I said, I didn't know nothing about him. I was like, what the fuck's this dude on? He's primarily a grappler who does throw wild with his hands. He fought a dude from an LFA, was an LFA champion, good striker. He knocked him out under 30 fucking seconds with an elbow. Guy came in, bah, elbow. Then the second fight, he fought a dude from Ireland. it was they were both brawling. They were good friends. They're like, you know what? If someone's gonna lose, we're gonna lose in fashion. They brawled it out. He got to the ground with a nasty head toss. And then I don't know how the hell he locked a submission in. He ended up getting the arm stuck in between the legs and pulled Kamara with his own leg power. No arms, no hand, no nothing. Pure legs. I'm locking your arm. Better tap. He locked the Kamara with his damn fucking legs by himself. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Valentine's my favorite play on the damn slate outside of, someone that's going to be on the main event. But I'm actually going to be playing him by submission because, like I said, Loader, does he have power in his hands? Yes, he showed it on the show. But you know what he primarily is? A wrestler. And what do wrestlers do? They shoot takedowns. I'm not going to say that he can't get a takedown. I think he's going to go for a takedown. And he might give up the fucking neck. And if he gives up the neck, he's going to get submitted quick because he hasn't fought any sort of good grappler in his career at all. So, yeah, I got Valentine. I'm going to play him by submission.
Yep. I like it. I like it a lot. Both of us are on Robert Valentine. Next up, we got Angela Hill going against Tabitha Baby Shark Ricci. And all right, Joey, I already told you who I'm on, but where are you at?
I'll say this right now. This is your coin flip. And if you are on this one side, this is more of a FanDuel play. I personally believe it. All week I was on Richie. I think maybe because, has maybe the better potential. Her hands have gotten better to an extent. And she has good wrestling and grappling. I don't know what woke Angela Hill up lately. She's on a win streak. What was it, like 3 fights? 3-4 fight win streak? Hit or miss? If it doesn't go to the wrestling, I think Angela Hill can probably win a point decision. But if there's any sort of like weird grappling, Richie is the better grappler. I'll tell you now, this is the one fight I may switch on back and forth, but I am currently on Angela Hill to win by decision. I think she's going to use her leg kicks that are going to be harder for Richie to shoot for takedowns. And I think she's going to be the overall point winner.
I already told you who I'm going with, so glad you switched your pick. I'm also on Angela Hill. Not that I think this is probably the first fight I haven't gone with Baby Shark, but um, Angela Hill has developed into a very interesting fighter. Her striking has elevated. She is now showing takedowns. I mean, she had 5 of them 2 fights ago against Gomes, and her takedown defense is pretty elite as far as takedown defense goes. So this fight comes down to pure strength, and unfortunately for Ricci, Hill is going to be the stronger fighter in this one. Not just that, but Hill throws a lot, and she's going to have the power edge. She's going to have the volume edge, and even if this gets to the mat, I don't see Ricci being able to keep her down. So I've got Hill all day.
Like I said, I think it's more of a FanDuel play because I know FanDuel is primarily for striking.
Well, it's not just
8,200.
that, but FanDuel also has points for takedown defense. So
Oh
this could
shit!
be
I didn't know that.
really. So both of us are on. Actually, I don't know who's the favorite in this fight. It's a
It's almost
pickup.
even money.
It's pretty much dead even. So both of us are on Hill. Um, I actually think that Hill should be a bigger favorite, but
You can
it is
get
what it
plus
is.
money by Hill by decision. So if you want to play it that way, over 2.5, you'll get like minus money, but the decision prop for Hill will be plus.
Next up, we have the 40-year-old Jared Cannonier going against the fighting nerd Borralho. I have finally taught Joey the correct way of picking fighting nerds. So to preface it, we are both on Borralho. That said, Cannonier looked like he was going to reinvent himself at his late age. He looked really good against Strickland. He looked really good against Vittori. And then against Imavov, he showed his age. And
Yep.
unfortunately, you can only do that you can only handle that kind of, fighting for so long. So I think this is a fight where Borralho is going to basically just gauge him the first round, and then he's going to tee off the next 4 rounds, whether that be his striking or takedowns, whatever it is. I don't see Cannonier winning this fight at all.
So I will give Drake credit. He's the one that got me on the fighting nerds.
Fighting nerds.
The only one that I kept picking against was old boy that just fought Dober. I don't know why. He's a bad SOB. But I will give myself credit. There was 2 fighting nerds that I bet on all along. No, I picked against Prate's one fight. That was stupid of me to do. But Protez was my lock last week for Planet Flag, and I said he was gonna be the first one to knock out Ling. And what happened? He flatlined his ass. Woo! And guess what? If you guys don't know, I do a Planet Flag. My Planet Flag's on Kyle Borralho. So that's gonna be make it 2 straight. Guess what? That's 2 fighting nerds in a row. I realized that. I was like, oh shit. Hell yeah, gotta do it. And I also predicted this. I predicted Protez to win by knockout, be the first one. I'm also gonna predict this for the first one. Borralho is gonna be the first one to submit Jan Cannonier.
Oh, I'm fine with that.
I'm on everything I love. Because one thing I hate to see, early against Imavov, it was like, okay, it could be a close fight. You look like it could go 5-round point fighting. But once Imavov found that range, this was Cannonier the whole time. Hand out and trying to walk away. He's like, I wanted no part. So I'm like, oh, I don't like seeing that. And then once Imavov did find the button, he landed clean. Does Borralho have power of Imavov? He's probably stronger than Imavov. I don't know if he has like the overall punching power of Imavov, but like if he lands, he might be able to rock Cannonier. But honestly, I think he's gonna get close to him, make it dirty in the clinch, and it wouldn't shock me if he fucking tosses Cannonier on the ground. I know Cannonier's a strong dude, but as you said, and you stole my saying, his age showed. And I think if he gives up his back one time, he's fucked. I think I'm gonna play Borralho by submission. That's another. If you guys watch the whole video, you're gonna see I picked a lot of guys to win by submission. If you're crazy enough, maybe I'll put a $5 on it and I'll pick everyone I picked by submission into a parlay. And if it hits, you better say thank you. But I got Borralho by submission and I'm playing them everywhere.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty good one. Both of us are on Borralho, and the whole fighting nerds. They're hard to go against. They are really good fighters. Thiago Moises, I don't think he was always with the
No.
fighting nerds. He is now.
Bruna Brazil, who dominated Molly McMahon, now she's on fighting nerds.
Yeah, Bruno Silva.
Yep.
They keep adding all these fighters, and
Oh,
it's gonna be fun to watch them.
did you recently see who they recently just added? Raul Rosas.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, he went to the gym.
What?
Yeah, I'll show you the picture, but yeah, he went to that gym. I don't know if it's full time or maybe just for a training camp, but yeah, he ended up going up there. And if
Wow.
that's the case, holy shit.
Yeah, they might eventually have a
A
champion
champ.
in 4 divisions. Yeah, so that wraps up this card. It should be a decently entertaining card. We have definitely had worse than this, so I'm not going to complain too much. Um, there is no card next week. Next week is Labor Day. The following weekend is going to be Labor Day weekend, so we won't have anything for that. We don't have anything until September 7th, and that will be Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady. There's some decent fights on that card.
Mhm.
Steve Garcia back on that card.
You damn right.
Trevor Peaks back on that card, and man, he's fun to watch. He's just a fun fighter to watch, man. He
He's like
gives it all.
somebody, if I had to go to a bar fight, I'd
He's
pick him first to be on my side.
fuck yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Fuck yeah, dude.
From this card, I could pick 3 guys that I would take in that. I would take him. I'd take Ryan Spann, and I'd take Isaac Dulgarian.
Wait,
They're
okay.
all
Who's Peak fighting?
Peak is fighting Ashmo. Ashmo.
Okay, he's gonna knock him out probably within 2. Who's the next guy fighting?
Ryan Spann's taking on OSP.
Oh, come on! Don't do my
That's gonna be
Tennessee boy like that. That's look
just
either
plant your
Span
flag
destroys
now,
him.
Ryan Spann.
Look, either Span destroys him, or that is the most boringest fight of the night. Okay,
Yeah,
who was your third one
Isaac Dulgarian,
against?
Brendan Moreau.
Who?
He'll be debuting.
Okay, I
Oh
got
no,
Isaac.
he got wrecked by T McKinney.
Oh, Gargarian's gonna get his win back because he got screwed in the decision. But okay,
So
that's
yeah,
if you guys play it now, you can get decent odds. It's a 3-legger if you do it.
probably. But so yeah, that's something to look forward to. The card after that's the one to really look forward to. I finally get to see Merab Wallace really beat the shit out of fucking Sean O'Malley. We get to see the third fight. You can say whatever you want. Merab's gonna kill him.
Marab got a nice little cut in his eye.
Yeah, if the fight happens.
Yeah.
We got Grasso and Shevchenko again. We
Grasso.
get Ortega versus Diego Lopez.
Ooh.
So it's definitely, it definitely looks like a really good card. But so that takes care of that. And Joey, unless you got anything else to add,
Nope.
all righty. Until next week, as always, we appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you.